Hina, thank you so much for joining us today. We are talking about transformation and what it really takes to drive transformation in such disruptive times. You as women have done exactly that over the years. More so because you are in fields which are traditionally and even otherwise led by men. Hina, in fact, you lead a company for the very first time in India as CEO of an alco beverage company. So what really excited you about the offer when you first said yes to it?
I knew this question was coming. I think it was two things. I was coming back to India after 7-8 years of being out. And it was two things. One was, I think, just the opportunity for business growth in a very fast-growing, rapidly premiumizing business category. And the other, I think, was the opportunity of normalizing our category, right? And really trying to change the perception of this industry in the country. And on the business side, I mean, when I came in, my mandate was, you need to drive top-line growth. And my mandate was double-digit growth. So we set out a strategy for double-digit growth, reshaping our portfolio to leverage this premiumization. Some of you may have seen our results. I mean, the team's done an incredible job. We've actually tripled our overall business growth. We've doubled our premium portfolio growth, and we grew about 20% the last 3 years on the premium end. We've become a debt-free company. We have issued declared dividend for the first time since the acquisition way back in 2013. Our brands are performing really competitively. But we felt that that was not enough. We felt that we need to actually give life to our purpose of celebrating life every day, everywhere, and with everyone. And therefore, not just financial performance, but we really want to, be the change that we want to see in our industry. So we launched our Diageo in Society goals. And these are really about adding value to all our stakeholders, be it through sustainability, be it through inclusion and diversity, and also through, fabulous returns to our shareholders, and building a company and a culture where our employees can really thrive. So we do have a culture where our employees are very passionate about our purpose, our brands, and we have made significant strides in the areas of sustainability and inclusion diversity. So I feel super proud of my team that they have really sort of elevated themselves to this new strategy, the new goals, and that we are making a difference.
Ashwini, we've seen Bombay transform to Mumbai, and you have been at the forefront of so many infrastructure projects. Tell us a bit about what it takes to address gender stereotypes. In your role specifically, you are dealing with men, you're dealing with unruly politicians at times. Tell us a bit about how you hold your ground, how do you address biases, and what you have seen over the years when it comes to accepting leaders to be women.
Hello. Actually, I belong to Indian Administrative Service of 1995 batch. And in that capacity, I have played diverse roles. But predominantly, I have remained in infrastructure sector, urban infrastructure from 2008 onwards. And I continued there because I could deliver. So I was made to continue. But this challenging the stereotyping starts from the very beginning of entering the service, because I come from a very small town of Western Maharashtra. I studied in very small towns. And that time, nobody could even think that women would join the civil services, because joining the civil services itself was a kind of a taboo. That time people thought it is something which is beyond their reach. And in that area of where I studied, for typically, if we are a bright student, then as a woman, you can opt for a medicine sector. So nobody thought of that. So it started right from then. After 10th, I myself decided that I will join civil services. And the challenging the stereotype started from them. Then I entered the service, and after that, again, even in service, though you belong to a premier service, so probably stereotyping is less than what other women face, because by virtue of being in the service, you get certain positions, irrespective of your gender. But once you are in the service, then certain roles are, kept secure for women. So generally women officers will find them in social sector. So you are good as Secretary Women and Child Development. You are good as certain sectors where men themselves don't want to, lead. So these roles are kept for women, though not directly, but indirectly this kind of discrimination happens. And because so much of internalizing of these values happen over a period of time, that women leaders, women officers also think that they are not good for certain roles which are meant for women. And urban infrastructure is probably one such role where women officers themselves won't venture into that. But when I got that opportunity, then that itself was kind of challenging the stereotype. And I started functioning from 2008 onwards, and our team started delivering many projects. I worked with 3 premier institutions of Government of Maharashtra in Mumbai. That was MMRDA. I worked there for 5 years. Then I took the managing director position in Mumbai Metro Rail Corporation. There I worked for 5 years. For some reasons I had to move out. But again, I was given the responsibility of BMC and the Coastal Road project. So it means that the way I started working, the way I started team building, probably government also had the faith that I would deliver infrastructure projects, and this is how I kept on getting those jobs. And we established a pattern, because doing such projects in a brownfield and thriving city like Mumbai, which is financially very active, and you can't stop the pace of the city, and still you have to do these projects. And these projects are always much more engineering plus, I call them. They are beyond engineering. They need so many other efforts. But we started working, and again, I can't take credit only for myself. It was the whole team which was working, and they delivered. So every stage was like defying the stereotypes. And as you know, when we work in this environment, it is much different than a private sector company where you know the stakeholders and how to deal with them. But in government, in a public sector scenario, especially in urban infrastructure, you have to deal with many stakeholders, and they come from all, right from the elite citizen groups to the slum dwellers, right from the contractors and various vendors to the political leaders. And you have to deal with them. You have to find out ways through negotiations. Sometimes you have to change. So your decision making has to be very dynamic. And while doing that, you have to be within the 4 walls of rules and regulation. There are vigilance aspects, there are audit aspects, and everything you have to follow. You have to follow the procedures so that there is absolutely no, any charge or any kind of allegations. So that also you have to follow. Plus you have to follow the deadlines. So it's a tough job, and you have to deal with these stakeholders without losing your cool. So at times you have conflicts. At times you need a lot of convincing power. You also need patience, especially when you deal with common people whom you are displacing because of the project, whom you need to rehabilitate. So you can't do things forcefully. You have to talk to them. You have to give them time. So that is one thing. Sometimes with the political leaders, you have to be very firm. Sometimes you go into some kind of a conflict. But ultimately, the aim is to deliver the project. So find solutions. And finding solutions takes you beyond a conflict. You have to manage the conflict, and you have to bring all stakeholders to one final kind of acceptance. So my job involves all these things, and we have been doing it successfully so far. So I think that's all about it.
Indeed. Hina and Ashwini, you've absolutely set the tone for the conversation, and I'll pick threads from your individual responses to that question. Very interesting, you pointed out how the company is now debt-free. At the time when you took over the company, of course, debt overhang was a problem. There were strategic concerns as well, and you brought about a whole lot of transformation with implementation of strategies which have paid out. Tell us a bit in detail about the transformation you brought about on the business front as a business leader.
Yeah, when in 2021, when I came in, we, like I said, the mandate was double-digit growth, and it was, profitable, sustained double-digit growth. So our strategy was launched in October in 2021. And we had 3 strategic pillars for the strategy. The first one was really reshaping our portfolio and, leveraging the premiumization that we are seeing in this country. And the other 2 pillars were building an organization of the future. I mean, we've got, new generation employees, we've got various stakeholders, so how do we create an organization that makes them thrive? And the third pillar was really playing a more ambitious role in society through our Diageo in Society goals. On the portfolio, I mean, it was really, we sold off, our lower end of the portfolio, 32 brands we sold, we franchised out 11 so that we could focus on the premium end. We've really had a very transformational innovation agenda. So we've launched Johnnie Walker Blonde, we've launched something called Royal Challenge American Pride. I see some nods in the audience, so hopefully you've tried some of our beautiful products. We also renovated some of our whiskey brands to really meet the needs of evolving consumers. So Signature, it's one of the most sustainable whiskeys on the market, and the new consumer really wants propositions like that. They want companies to do good, right, while doing sales. So we've launched a technical center. We have a best-in-class innovation center, which is the only DSIR certified research center for alcohol beverage in the country. We launched a hub called the Good Craft Company, which is basically not only developing craft brands for us, but also helping the craft ecosystem in the country. Goa has a number of entrepreneurs who are making craft spirits. We are actually supporting them make better, liquids for the country. So we are really helping them give the best to India. We made an investment in Now Spirits. Most of you, or some of you may have tried Hapusha Gin and Greater Than, so we have a stake in those brands. We have just made an investment in Pistola, which is a craft agave spirit. And so we have really reshaped our portfolio to give immersive, luxurious experiences to the consumers. On the organization side, basically 2 or 3 interventions, key interventions. One is digital. I mean, everyone talks about digital. I think our capability, we are trying to accelerate the journey. I can't say we are best in class, but we strive to be there. We are really investing in our talent and capabilities in the core areas of consumer insight, innovation, distillation, etc. And we are really launching progressive work policies so that we have an environment where all our employees can really thrive and give their best, right? On the Diageo in Society, we have 3 pillars. It is about championing inclusion and diversity. It is, and all of you may be surprised with this, but we genuinely promote moderation and responsible drinking. We don't want people to drink more, we want them to drink better. And we do extensive programs, Ashwini, also with the government, where we have tied up with, the regional transport authorities to actually teach people the risks of drink driving before they're given a license. 32 RTOs already are working with us, right? And on the sustainability side, water, which is our most precious resource. We are actually conserving water, replenishing more water than we use, reducing our carbon emissions. We've already reduced 95% of our carbon emissions from scope 1 and 2, which is our own operations. And we are trying to create products which are more sustainable by design. So I think this strategy is really helping us add value to all our stakeholders as well as delivering the, the financial performance that we want to do. Yeah.
Ashwini, the transformation we spoke about has a lot to do with accountability. It has a lot to do with audit practices, implementation of strategies that you actually go forward with and execute. Tell us a bit about the execution part of it. How, as a leader, helming many of these projects, have you tried to transform many of the work ethics and the accountability part of the equation? We have seen infrastructure projects that are stalled, that are not completed on time, but there's been a clear change on that front. So what did it take for you to bring about this massive change in the overall ethics and accountability part of the equation?
I think you made a very valid point because for many years we see that in government sector or public sector projects are started, but for some reasons if they are stalled, then the leadership keeps changing, and that is why at times nobody is there to finally be accountable for the delivery. So when I joined MMRDA, that time also there were many projects which were the Bhumi Pujan was done, coconut breaking was done, but the projects were non-starters because the problems were so enormous that nobody would take a lead and solve the problem. Because in government, we work in various departments, and there are other agencies who also need their involvement in that project. And everybody works in their silos, they are good, but nobody wants to break those barriers, enter into others' area, and then solve problems. So the change which I made when I came, because I didn't have any experience of working in infrastructure, I had come from a different background in my previous jobs. I'm not an engineer. But when I realized that it is a problem of basically breaking these barriers, bringing everybody on the same table, and the first and foremost thing which I did was to make the team responsible. I said, we have to deliver these projects. We are not leaving it to somebody who would come later. Even I don't know how long I am going to stay in MMRDA, but till the time I am there, I would like to deliver these projects. So whatever problems we are, let us tackle them one by one. If they are not, because most of the problems when you work in a public sector, the implementing agency is only the implementing agency. The problem is in somebody else's realm. So as MMRDA, you would work on project on a road which belongs to BMC. You need shifting of some electric poles which belong to BEST. You need to shift some slum dwellers who are in the realm of slum improvement authority. You need some land which belongs to defense sector or some private sector. So the point is, I can't leave it to them when they give me the land. So first thing I did, I motivated my team that this is our project and we have to deliver. It is our requirement. So we will go to them 100 times and we'll get it. We will not wait till they come. So I think that first thing was the approach which is attacking the problem, dealing with the problem right from the forefront. And we started working with all these stakeholders. And we did all kinds of measures. Sam, Dam, Danda, Bhed, which I call. So first, go to them, request them 100 times. If they don't, then just go and get that project. I have done it. Like there was one land which belonged to a central government department, which we needed. That it was a very crucial piece of land for Eastern Freeway project, which we did. It was again a very, very complex and challenging project. And I did everything. I went to their Delhi office, I went in the ministry, but somehow nobody was there again. They had no problem. They knew that this is a land which is reserved for the project and development plan of the city, and they have to give this land. But who would take that decision? Because everybody fears that, okay, if I give the land, tomorrow my vigilance would ask me that question. And there was not a single person who was ready. So what we did, I issued them a notice under one section of BMC Act, which powers were there with us. Such notice under section 199, it is meant for the private landowners. It is not meant for the government. But I said, we'll issue them notice. What we did, in the reference, we mentioned all the letters or the correspondence which we have done with them. There were at least more than 20 letters which we had written at all levels. So we mentioned them. And we wrote that this is a land which is already reserved in development plan. We have already given you an ample opportunity, and you would get a compensation in the form of transferable development right. So it is not that we are taking it free of cost. The only thing is you have to give, and so far you have not given this land, and we are now at such stage that without this land the project cannot be completed. So I am just taking over the position. And we took over the position. Some of the local officers actually thanked me. They said, you didn't put us the responsibility of decision on us. You took that decision yourself. And nobody challenged. So sometimes you have to do this. Similar was the case. There are a lot of salt pan lands in Mumbai. And salt pan is a very, very sensitive issue in Mumbai because environmentalists keep talking about it. And nobody takes decision, again, giving salt pan. So there also we managed. I had a similar approach. There was a group of ministers in government of India who were to take that decision. That meeting had never taken place for past 7-8 years. Then it was headed by Mr. Sharad Pawar, Mr. Vilasrao Deshmukh was also on board. So we decided, we went to them and individually we met them. We told them that for this project, this meeting needs to take place and this decision. And we did this kind of backroom kind of advisory consultation with them. The meeting took place. They had kept some 25 odd subjects because the meeting has not taken place for many years. Most of them were private. All others were rejected. Only our our work was sanctioned. So you have to do a lot of such things. I have thousands of such examples. The thing is, you have to approach, find out solution, be proactive. And even when Mumbai Metro Line 3 started, it's an underground project, fully underground. And there was not a single piece of land where we can start the work. But the same spirit our team worked, that we have to solve the problem. So this issue of accountability, I instilled that spirit in my team, that we are accountable for this project. So we have to take ownership, come what may, whatever the challenges be, but we have to work. So with this kind of spirit, I think the projects have now started happening, and you would find the similar approach being adopted by other implementing agencies also, which I think it's a very, very favorable situation.
Mm-hmm. Thank you for sharing those anecdotes. It really tells about the struggles you have to go through on a daily basis and the challenges you have to address. And I think both you ladies have very well, very articulately highlighted the various biases you have to overcome. And you've also spoken about how you have the steel as a leader to transform businesses, transform a whole city. So congratulations on that. I want to end the conversation by trying to understand how, as leaders, what are you doing to level the playing field for more women, aspiring women who want to make it big in your specific fields? What are you doing for them to make it more inclusive? I'll start with you, Hina.
I mean, a lot. Okay, we are doing a lot. I mean, it's a core part of our strategy, as I mentioned. I think that's fundamental. Unless it appears as a pillar of your very strategic being and your purpose, I don't think you can get forward, right? So the fact that we've announced to the, India, or to the world rather, our goals on inclusion and diversity, I think is the first step. We have a lot of market-leading policies which support women. And actually, we are going beyond women. We are actually supporting LGBTQIA+. We are supporting people with disabilities. We are supporting women. And, on LGBTQIA, we have recently been announced as the Gold Employer by Pride Circle India. And this creates a really inclusive environment for, this cohort of people. We have policies of gender expression, gender identity, sexual orientation. And our well-being policy actually gives equal medical coverage and leave to same-sex or live-in partners, right? And very few companies have come up with this, right? Our diversity ratio, gender diversity has moved from 7.5% in 2015 to more than 26% in 2023. 50% of my executive is women. 35% of our senior leadership is women. Right? And we don't stay just with our own company. We also are sort of fundamentally driving inclusion in the communities that we are operating in. I was telling some people while we were waiting that we have a program called Learning for Life, which equips underrepresented communities with hospitality skills. And we ensure 50% women participation. And they are getting employed by, the Royal Orchid Hotel, Starbucks, Taj Hotels after, finishing. We've also worked with the Skill Council for people with disabilities. And, these people are also coming under Learning for Life, learning hospitality skills. We trained 100 people last year. We've just done a memorandum of understanding to train 300 people this year, and all of them have got fantastic employment. We work with Advertising Society, the Advertising Standards Council of India to actually lead guidelines on progressive marketing. Right? We are a founding member of the Unstereotype Alliance, so which sort of influences across industries to do progressive portrayal. We spend a good part of our media on progressive marketing and with people who are driving a progressive narrative. So I would say that it's a combination of all these initiatives, not a single one, that helps us not only drive diversity internally, but also with communities, and also helps us lead the industry narrative and improve the perception of this alcobev category, which has come a long way, by the way. I say it's come a long way, baby, since 2013, etc. It has come a long way, and we are recognized for the work we are doing now. So that feels really good. Yeah.
Ashwini?
I can't claim all those things because in government, it is restricted by certain policies. Maharashtra government has 33% reservation for women in employment. But in infrastructure, especially civil engineering, there are still some barriers, maybe more mental barriers, or that is why women representation is much less. But as a company, we have been encouraging that wherever I find a suitable women employee in engineering sphere. But other non-engineering, we have ample representation, especially in planning and architecture. We have very excellent representation of women. But my focus as an infrastructure, when the metro starts, it should be more women friendly. So our focus is on that, because the women participation, employment participation rate depends on how safe and secure your transport is in a city. Mumbai, fortunately, we have, but still we need to go beyond what the suburban railway experience is. And considering that, there are a lot of features which we have introduced in this underground metro, which we are doing, which will make a very, very safe, comfortable, and faster travel for women. And multiple features are involved in it. And I'm sure this underground metro, which is the only line which connects to the city and multiple employment hubs, it proves not only a lifeline, but a real lifeline for the women, because those who are using some other transport which is more, not so convenient to them, if they should shift to this, and it would lead to the higher women employment participation rate. So from that perspective, we are working.
Thank you so much, Hina and Ashwini, for sharing your inspiring journey with us, and the lovely anecdotes that you shared just help us understand what it really takes to rise to position of power and influence and be self-made women. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.